Siglo XX con Mike Wallace.
Hoy en Siglo XX,
I am not guilty of these allegations.
Pete, what are you going to tell the judge?
el mundo de la farándula, los escándalos y la prensa.
We're more famous than other people.
Para famosos e infames no hay escape de la agresiva persecución de una nueva e inquisitiva industria.
I just felt that I had to end this ordeal.
Okay. Thank you. That's enough.
Soy Mike Wallace y esto es Siglo XX.
Siglo XX con Mike Wallace.
Satisfacer la curiosidad por los famosos ha sido la prioridad del periodismo desde la aparición de la prensa amarillista, pero hacia el final del siglo XX, las celebridades se convirtieron en la obsesión de estos medios invasores y de rápido crecimiento que registraban cada movimiento que hacían. Y lo que sucedió durante una de estas persecuciones en agosto de 1997 hizo noticia en el mundo.
It is our duty this morning to report that Princess Diana is dead. The Princess of Wales died of massive internal injuries sustained in an automobile crash last night in Paris.
The Mercedes sedan in which they were traveling now is nothing but mangled metal, barely even recognizable as a vehicle. It was late last night. The princess and companion Dodi Al-Fayed reportedly tried to outrun the ever-present paparazzi, at times, according to French police, reaching speeds of up to 100 miles per hour.
La noticia de que los fotógrafos no auxiliaron a la princesa Diana mientras ésta agonizaba resultó falsa, y aún así los paparazzi fueron acusados.
Diana, Princess of Wales, died as she lived in the glare of publicity. Some say the media hounded her to death.
It finally caused the death of the world's princess.
I always believed the press would kill her in the end.
Sea verdad o no, la cobertura de celebridades por los medios se desató al final del siglo XX.
I think there's much more aggressive reporting and pursuit of stories than there ever has been.
Como editora ejecutiva de la revista People, Carol Wallace conoce cuán ardua es la competencia por noticias y fotografías de celebridades.
People magazine won't pay for stories, but we're always up against companies or publications who will. You have photographers on motorcycles chasing down people because one click of the camera may mean a $100,000 photo.
Las historias de famosos venden revistas. La princesa Diana apareció 43 veces en la portada de People. El interés general por la princesa aumentó con la publicación de sus problemas, su divorcio, sus crisis de bulimia y su baja autoestima. Estas revelaciones y la demanda en aumento por historias de celebridades aumentó el interés de los medios que la rodeaban a ella y a otras figuras públicas.
I just think as society's grown and there's been television and there's cable and there's worldwide, global, up-to-the-minute everything, that the appetite to fill this time has grown and has the interest in celebrities.
Remember, Americans watch television on an average of 7 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's unheard of in the history of the world, that people would be entertained that much. When I was a kid, you didn't go to the movies 7 hours a night and 7 days a week. Nobody went to the Elizabethan Theater 7 hours a night, 7 days a week.
Cierto, pero antes de la televisión las celebridades y sus escándalos eran noticias seguras. Por ejemplo, el caso de Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle, comediante popular de la era del cine mudo y una de las estrellas mejor pagadas de Hollywood. Su escándalo se convirtió en noticia de primera plana.
You had sex, you had a movie star, you had a murder, so why wouldn't that be news? There's always been an interest in movie stars and the rich and the famous in their woes.
Arbuckle era un mujeriego. Un día de 1921, en una fiesta en San Francisco, fue encontrado en el cuarto de un hotel con una joven que agonizaba por ruptura de vejiga. Arbuckle fue acusado de violación y homicidio. Fue liberado de culpa, pero su carrera terminó. Fue una de las primeras víctimas del insaciable deseo del público por los escándalos.
It's fundamental to human nature to see powerful people or rich people or people more talented than you are, to believe that they are in fact inferior to you, that they're not capable of the same high moral qualities that you have.
Antes de la llegada de la televisión, el público estaba más dispuesto a olvidar el escándalo si la celebridad era un genio. Charles Chaplin sobrevivió a 4 matrimonios, numerosos romances, muchos con jovencitas, una demanda de paternidad, una pelea por custodia, ideas políticas impopulares y un carácter huraño.
Well, it's very nice to come back after 10 years to Hollywood.
Ingrid Bergman perdió popularidad y por poco no se recuperó. Bella, talentosa, popular, proyectaba un brillo especial en la pantalla. En 1949, cuando abandonó a su esposo e hija para huir a Italia con el director Roberto Rossellini, los buitres de la prensa la atacaron.
Ms. Bergman, a great many public figures find it difficult to keep their private life private. Do you feel there's been an intrusion in your private life, or you think you've been dealt with fairly at all?
I think it's been terrible. I think my private life hasn't been private at all.
There were no hard copy, no inside edition, no current affairs, so nobody was chasing her down the street. But I do think that those things were paid attention to and that there was interest.
Tanto interés hubo que fue denunciada desde el púlpito. En el Congreso fue llamada apóstol de la corrupción. Su público no la perdonó hasta que abandonó a Rossellini y retomó su carrera en Hollywood.
I think the person has to have a private life, but I also know that if you choose being an actress, you have to take both sides of the coin. So, there it is.
Contrario a las estrellas del cine, los deportistas no solían despertar la curiosidad del público. Babe Ruth era un hombre de gran apetito para la comida, la bebida y las mujeres, pero fue un verdadero héroe americano y sus faltas no se difundieron ampliamente en la prensa de los años 20.
Nobody wanted these kinds of stories out. It was to no one's advantage at the time. And I think that the reporters, you know, boys will be boys, and they all were in the locker room, and it was this kind of clubby, protective atmosphere.
Como resultado, el escándalo nunca tocó a Babe Ruth, pero esto cambió con la llegada de la televisión.
There's just no covering up of these things now. I mean, we have changed as a society, and I don't think people want those things to be covered up.
Y cuando Pete Rose, quien jugó toda su brillante carrera en la televisión, cometió el pecado imperdonable de apostar, las cámaras lo siguieron en cada momento de su desgracia.
I've made some mistakes, and I think I'm being punished for those mistakes.
One of the game's greatest players has engaged in a variety of acts which have stained the game, and he must now live with the consequences of those acts.
Baseball Commissioner A. Bartlett Giamatti pronouncing sentence on Pete Rose. In Cincinnati, Rose faced the facts.
I've been in baseball 3 decades, and to think that I'm going to be out of baseball for a very short period of time hurts.
The banishment for life of Pete Rose from baseball is the sad end of a sorry episode.
Cuando fue expulsado del béisbol en 1989, Rose se unió a la lista de los infames medias negras, 8 jugadores de Chicago expulsados por apostar en la Serie Mundial del año 19.
Pete Rose signed this document agreeing that he engaged in conduct not in the best interests of baseball. What he would not admit was betting on baseball.
The only thing I can tell the fans is I did not bet on baseball. Got too much respect for the game. Too much love for the game.
Disagreement from the commissioner.
Yes. I have concluded that he bet on baseball.
And you concluded that he bet on the Reds as well?
Yes.
A pesar de la negativa de Rose, la evidencia sobre las apuestas de béisbol era muy fuerte, ya que era un confeso jugador compulsivo. Rose quedó devastado ante su expulsión, pero aún faltaba más. En abril de 1990.
Grim-faced and flanked by his lawyers, Pete Rose plowed past the hometown crowd in Cincinnati to federal court today, where he pleaded guilty to cheating on his income tax. Before accepting his plea bargain on 2 felony counts of filing false returns, the judge repeatedly asked Rose Do you understand you could be sentenced to 6 years in prison and fined up to $500,000? Rose replied, yes, sir.
The criminal evidence against him, prosecutors say, proves that Rose was a chronic gambler who won more than he lost and who hid hundreds of thousands of dollars in income from the financial advisors who paid his taxes.
A remorseful Rose apologized, his voice choking with emotion. I feel shameful, he said. I have lost my dignity, my self-respect, many dear fans, and some good friends. Looking drained and defeated, Rose limped past reporters on an injured knee. Tomorrow he must undergo minor surgery. With no plans to appeal, I accept my punishment, Rose said in a brief printed statement, adding, I will pay my debt to society and get on with my life.
Certainly a very sad day for Mr. Rose and his family, but a particularly sad day for those young Americans to whom Pete Rose was an idol.
Even in Cincinnati, fans most loyal to his legend think Rose should pay for his mistakes.
He's got a lot of support here, but just like anybody else, when you break the law, you should pay.
It's a shame it happens, but he's not special.
I'm a working man. I work hard for my money, and I got to pay my taxes, you know.
With federal prison gates about to close and locked behind him, Pete Rose is still holding out hope that in 1992, another set of doors will be open to him at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
As Pete has said, he wants to get back into baseball for one reason, the Hall of Fame. He wants to get in the Hall of Fame. It's an obsession with him.
Después de 5 meses en una prisión federal, Rose aprendió la nueva regla del Salón de la Fama del béisbol. Nadie expulsado de este deporte podía ser admitido en el Salón de la Fama hasta que el béisbol lo reincorporara. Duro castigo para un jugador de las estrellas como Rose, quien tenía el récord de ligas mayores de más hits en su carrera. Esto lo convirtió en una gran historia.
Because he was a great baseball player. I mean, not just a 220 hitter or something. He was an absolutely great baseball player. And second, because what he was doing really attacked the integrity of the game.
People say, wait a minute, you know, this guy who's being marketed as a hero, is he a hero? Breaking what he knows to be the rules of the game, that's a big story. And there's just no way to avoid it.
It wasn't as if he was caught with an airline stewardess at the Tarantula Arms on Highway 101 or something. He was caught betting on games.
Y apostar en juegos es una ofensa grave que amenaza con debilitar la integridad básica del béisbol de grandes ligas. Aún así, la ofensa fue menos desagradable que el crimen del que fue acusado varios años después. Esta historia al regreso en siglo XX. Mike Tyson era un niño fuerte de las calles de Brooklyn que luchó para llegar a la cima del boxeo a la edad de 20 años, el campeón peso pesado más joven de la historia. Tyson ya había ganado millones con sus puños para cuando fue encarcelado por violación en 1992 y ganó más millones al salir de prisión. Pero el éxito y el dinero poco hicieron para cambiar el carácter de Mike Tyson, quien aún se comportaba como un matón.
Tyson's problem is that sometimes he hits his heart outside the ring as in. He has smashed one car into a tree, smashed one hand brawling with another fighter on a Harlem street at 4 a.m. His ex-wife, Robin Givens, told a national TV audience Tyson roughed her up.
He told me very bluntly that he loves to make women bleed, that he likes to see them in pain when he makes love to them.
En su mayoría, las historias de brutalidad de Tyson eran confinadas a la sección deportiva, pero esto cambió en 1992 cuando su reputación por comportamiento violento lo llevó a las primeras páginas.
Boxer Mike Tyson, accused of raping a woman in July, is to appear this morning at an Indianapolis jail to be booked and fingerprinted. Then he'll go to court to answer the charges and post a $30,000 bond.
Iron Mike Tyson ambled into court the same way he ambles into a ring, nonchalantly. If he was thinking about the legal ordeal, which could send him to jail for 63 years, he wasn't saying so.
Los demandantes dijeron que durante el concurso de color de Miss América en Indianápolis en 1991, Tyson acompañó a una candidata de 18 años a su habitación del hotel. Desiree Washington aceptó encantada su compañía, pero luego fue violada.
Tyson called her from his limousine after midnight. They drove from her hotel to the Canterbury, just a block away, and went up to his room at about 1:30 in the morning. She thought she was going up to Tyson's room to pick up something before they went out again. She says she had no idea that they were going up to his room to have sex.
Do you have a problem? I'm calling to report a rape.
24 horas después de dejar la habitación de Tyson, Washington llamó al 911 para decir que había sido violada.
And the person started attacking me. Not attacking me, but like he seemed very aggressive, trying to take my clothes off, and then just basically forced himself upon me.
I know I'm innocent.
Why do you think she's saying this?
Huh?
Why do you think she's saying this?
I don't know why she's saying it.
La versión de Tyson era completamente diferente de la de Washington.
I called her. I think she was tired or something. I said, don't worry about it. Just comb your hair and put water in your face. And I asked her to wear something short, like a short dress or some wide, loose, baggy shorts. And she came in the car, we kissed, and we were making out, okay? Fooling around, and then we drove right around the corner to my hotel room. We got out of my hotel room, we went upstairs, and we went in my room. So when I closed the door, we went in my room, we sat on my bed, she sat on my bed in somewhat of a Buddha position, you know, when the legs were crossed. And she was talking, and we started kissing. And she started pulling off her clothes, she was getting hot, she was getting aggressive.
Tyson siempre declaró que la relación no fue forzada. El jurado, sin embargo, apoyó a Desiree. Una vez más, los medios estaban allí para reportar el veredicto.
This was a knockout punch for Mike Tyson. After 9.5 hours of deliberation, a jury of 8 men and 4 women found the former heavyweight boxing champ guilty of rape. Tyson sat motionless as the verdict was read. It was like ringside outside the courthouse as Tyson and his lawyers left without comment. Tyson supporters were angered by the verdict.
It was her word against his. It's not fair.
It wasn't an easy verdict to come with, but we think we did the best job.
But jurors said they carefully weighed all the evidence, agreeing the state had a stronger case, and many felt the accuser's testimony was more believable.
She was under the impression she was going out to have fun. She took her camera.
Tyson fue condenado a 6 años de prisión, considerando que era un hombre que deseaba golpear la nariz de su oponente y metérsela en el cerebro. El mundo del boxeo no se inmutó.
There was a feeling in boxing that Tyson was wired for his own destruction. For a while, people almost used as his middle name, Time Bomb.
If I wasn't in boxing, I'd be breaking the law. That's my nature, he once said. What he was trained to do is hurt people. What the jury found yesterday is that for this punishing man, life could not imitate art. That this time, Mike Tyson went too far. In that sense, this is an American tragedy, a superb talent which self-destructed.
This is a major story because, again, it's probably one of the most gifted boxers in the history of the sport who's just out of control. And it's one thing to be out of control and you know, have a few beers too many, though I'm not condoning that, but this raised the stakes. You know, rape is a felony, and he served time in prison.
En prisión, Tyson llevó muchos libros, adoptó la religión musulmana y bregó con la condena, pero no se arrepintió.
I'm just normal, and that's why I'm in trouble, because I'm normal and slightly arrogant. You know what I mean? I get a little arrogant because I'm confident. You know, I know whatever I do, I know I'm the best at it. You know, and people get upset with that, but you know what I mean? That's a part of me which a lot of people don't like, because a lot of people don't like themselves, and I happen to be totally in love with myself. You know what I mean? People take offense to that.
El día después de su salida se internó en su casa de Ohio mientras los vecinos y la prensa se acercaban a mirar.
Back at his Southington, Ohio estate, Tyson received a warm welcome from fans and supporters.
He needs to be able to come home, and people just need to let him be. He's done his time. Let him come home and let him lead the rest of his life.
As Tyson readjusts to civilian life, the boxing business eagerly awaits the excitement and mega bucks his return to the ring are expected to generate.
El hombre más malo sobre el planeta, como se llamaba a sí mismo, regresó al trabajo y acabó con varios boxeadores de segunda o latas de tomate, como se los conoce en el boxeo. Pero luego peleó contra Evander Holyfield y fue noqueado en el 11º asalto. Pelearon nuevamente en Las Vegas en junio de 1997 y Tyson probó una vez más que cuando los rufianes se encuentran con alguien alguien al que no intimidan, a veces se autodestruyen.
Tyson was behind going into the third round Saturday night when he opened his mouth and sank his teeth into Evander Holyfield's right ear. The champion reeled in agony. Referee Mills Lane had already deducted points from Tyson for a first bite.
Now look, he bit him again. And then he said, it's a punch. He said, don't give me that crap, man. You bit him. I said, that's it. You're gone.
Evander, I'm sorry.
Mike Tyson apologized today to the boxer he bit, to the sport he embarrassed, and to the public he shocked.
I was wrong. And I expect to pay the price like a man.
La Comisión de Boxeo de Nebraska revocó la licencia de Tyson y lo multó por $3 millones, el 10% de su fortuna.
I only ask that you forgive me, as have you forgiven other athletes.
Y muchos del medio sí disculparon a Tyson y trataron el incidente con moderación, quizás porque el salvajismo en un deporte violento no es poco común.
This was not Wimbledon. This was not, the 18th hole at the Masters. This was a boxing ring in a sport promoted by people that you wouldn't ever want to allow in your house. A sport that's largely unregulated, in which there's no governing body, there's no union, there's no health plan for fighters, there's no pension plan for these poor guys. And we're sitting there moralizing about taking a chunk out of a guy's ear. I think it was terrible what he did, but it was, believe me, not Hiroshima.
Arrancar un pedazo de oreja no se compara con Hiroshima, pero si lo hace un hombre condenado por violación frente a millones de televidentes, esto llama nuestra atención. Y Mike Tyson no fue el único famoso de su tiempo cuya reputación fue dañada por conducta sexual impropia. Dos grandes estrellas del mundo del espectáculo, Michael Jackson y Woody Allen, tuvieron que pasar la prueba del juicio de los medios en el escándalo de los 90. Sus historias al regreso en siglo XX. Michael Jackson es una estrella internacional reconocida. A pesar de su fama y fortuna, tiene la reputación de un excéntrico que le gusta estar con niños. De hecho, invitó a niños pequeños a pasar la noche en su rancho llamado Neverland. Pero este hábito en particular fue visto como algo más que excentricidad en el verano del 93, cuando, a la edad de 35 años, Michael Jackson fue acusado de molestar niños de 13 años.
Los Angeles police sources admit the sexually exploited child unit is investigating and that 2 of Michael Jackson's homes were searched over the weekend. It's reported videotapes and photographs were seized. In this August 17th court document, in a custody battle over the alleged victim, his father petitioned his mother not to allow the minor child to have any contact or communication with a third-party adult male known as Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson's former maid reportedly claims she saw the singer bathing with naked boys. The LA Times says the woman also told investigators she once found Jackson and another boy together in a sleeping bag.
Jackson admitió dormir con niños en la cama, pero negó cualquier tipo de contacto sexual.
There have been many disgusting statements made recently concerning allegations of improper conduct on my part. These statements about me are totally false. As I have maintained from the very beginning, I am hoping for a speedy end to this horrifying experience to which I have been subjected.
Jackson canceló lo que faltaba de su gira mundial, admitió adicción a los analgésicos y por un tiempo se mantuvo oculto.
Jackson was reported to be traveling to Switzerland with Elizabeth Taylor, but when she arrived, he was nowhere to be seen. Tonight, the international press is gathered outside a clinic in London where Jackson may have checked in to undergo treatment. The singer claims he started taking the painkillers after reconstructive surgery for a burn he suffered during the filming of a Pepsi commercial. His relationship with the cola giant, which was sponsoring the world tour, has lasted 10 years. But tonight, Pepsi says it's over.
Pero el caso no estaba cerrado, pues había aparecido una conversación grabada que implicaba al padre y al padrastro del niño en lo que podía ser chantaje.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. He will not believe it. He will not believe what's going to happen to him. Beyond his worst nightmares. If I go through with this, I win big time. I will get everything I want. They will be destroyed forever.
A Jackson le preocupaba mucho que su carrera fuera destruida por la mala publicidad, tanto así que censuró a los que emitían las acusaciones en su contra.
I will say that I am particularly upset by the handling of this mass matter by the incredible, terrible mass media. At every opportunity, the media has dissected and manipulated these allegations to reach their own conclusions.
I don't think it's the media that gets them in trouble. I think the media goes to where trouble is. That's our gig.
I'm concerned about a man who's innocent and his rights, and that where, by virtue of article after article and story after story, there's an inference that he's not innocent, and he is innocent.
Throughout my life, I have only tried to help thousands upon thousands of children to live happy lives. It brings tears to my eyes when I see any child who suffers. I am not guilty of these allegations.
I think with the charges of the molestation charges, I think people were very curious about that because there'd always been a question of his sexuality. And he said he's not gay, but yet people say, well, why are you always pictured with little boys?
6 meses después de los cargos iniciales, los medios hicieron su agosto con Jackson cuando este negoció fuera de la corte pagando millones a su acusador.
The attorney representing the boy who has accused Michael Jackson of sexual abuse announced this afternoon that a deal has been struck between Jackson and his client.
He has gained peace. He gets to go on today, and hopefully everybody will leave him alone.
The pop star's lawyers were quick to point out the settlement, rumored to be around $10 million, was not an admission of guilt.
He is an innocent man who does not intend to have his career and his life destroyed by rumors and innuendos.
Así terminó la disputa. Los cargos criminales quedaban como una posibilidad, pero después de que 2 supuestas víctimas se negaron a declarar, los cargos criminales fueron retirados. Desde entonces, Michael Jackson ha estado en la mira de los medios.
He marries Lisa Marie Presley. They divorce, I don't know, a year or 2 later. Has a surrogate baby by a woman who's his dentist's or eye doctor's nurse. You know, this is not a life that says, leave me alone, I want to be anonymous. This is a life of somebody who's just a little, almost like his own private freak show. And people are curious.
Michael Jackson sigue siendo una estrella. Sin embargo, debido a la publicidad que le dieron a los cargos en su contra, su reputación quedó seriamente afectada por el escándalo. Podría decirse lo mismo de otra celebridad. El actor, escritor y director Woody Allen fue noticia cuando pidió la custodia de sus hijos luego de la ruptura de su relación de 12 años con Mia Farrow. Farrow lo acusó de molestar sexualmente a su hija adoptiva de 7 años, Dylan. Allen negó públicamente los cargos.
This is an unconscionable and gruesomely damaging manipulation of innocent children for vindictive and self-serving purposes.
Mia Farrow estaba molesta porque había encontrado fotografías tomadas por Woody Allen en la que Sun Ji, otra de sus hijas adoptivas de 21 años, aparecía desnuda.
This was not Woody Allen got caught stealing a tie at Bergdorf's. This was being sexually involved with the daughter of the woman he has been living with or dating for, 5 or 6 or 7 years.
Finalmente, Allen fue exonerado de toda mala conducta.
There was no sexual abuse that ever took place, and that it was either an imagined thing or a concocted thing.
Sin embargo, Woody Allen nunca sería visto de la misma manera.
When celebrities cross the line from kind of cute behavior or once in a while, being tipsy at a party, to rape, to murder, to what many believed in his case was incest, that's news.
Las acusaciones que se le imputaron a Woody Allen hicieron noticia, aun cuando nunca fue formalmente acusado del crimen. También lo fue la denuncia del abuso infantil en el caso de Michael Jackson, pero en los 90 la búsqueda de historias sobre celebridades y escándalos por parte de los medios se ha convertido en una cacería. Un ejemplo, la princesa Diana. Esta historia al regreso en siglo XX. La muerte de Diana, princesa de Gales, abrió todo un caudal de dolor nunca antes visto. Personas de todo el mundo amaban y admiraban a esta soberana que renunció a su realeza, esta princesa que se rebeló contra la corona. Los cínicos decían que era una frívola y una adúltera, cuando en realidad solo era una persona con muchos problemas. A medida que se hacían públicos sus defectos, la gente quería conocerla más, y los medios fueron implacables desde el principio.
From the very first rumors of her relationship with Prince Charles, Diana lost any normal private life. She was media bait. The 19-year-old Lady Diana Spencer was then living in London and working at a nursery school.
I wanted to teach children. They said, why not come along? So I first started off doing afternoons.
But there was no question then that she was the best thing to happen to the royal family in years. He was the heir to a 1,000-year-old monarchy, the most eligible prince in the world. She was 20, the daughter of an earl, but shy and inexperienced in the ways of the world.
La respuesta que dio el príncipe cuando le preguntaron si estaba enamorado fue un presagio de lo que sucedería luego.
And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
La fascinación del mundo por Diana comenzó el 29 de julio de 1981.
With this ring, I thee wed.
I thee wed. The Archbishop of Canterbury, who officiated, called it a fairy tale marriage. And so it seemed at first. The birth of two sons seemed to complete their happiness. Prince William, who is in line to inherit the throne one day after his father, and Prince Harry, who was especially close to his mother.
Pero los cuentos de hadas no siempre tienen un final feliz. La historia de Diana pronto cayó en desgracia.
As the story began to come out, it whetted the appetite of the world media. The royal couple had to deal with their private problems in the full glare of publicity.
Los escándalos no solo afectaron a su matrimonio, sino también a las bases de la monarquía misma.
The British are abuzz about the latest royal gossip. The tabloids are a-Twitter with word that Princess Di may leave Charles this fall. There's even been a phone number that the British can call to hear what is alleged to be an intimate chat between Di and a gentleman caller.
El escándalo de las llamadas cintas románticas sobre supuestas llamadas telefónicas románticas entre la princesa Diana y un misterioso hombre llamado Gilby. Mientras tanto, su esposo, el príncipe de Gales, estaba en compañía de una amiga especial.
Charles had resumed a relationship with married former girlfriend Camilla Parker Bowles, while Diana's own affairs were also becoming public knowledge.
Y estaba el libro, Diana, su verdadera historia, que aparentemente tenía su aprobación y que contaba sobre su desdicha, sus problemas de bulimia y otros más. También revelaba sobre un intento de suicidio. Tanto el príncipe como la princesa trataron de proteger a sus hijos del escándalo, pero en 1992 sucedió lo inevitable.
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate.
The picture of a princess who's got her cake and can eat it too. In thinly disguised legalese, the announcement spells out the terms of a separation that leaves Diana with her royal status intact, but minus Prince Charles. Many of the tabloid writers see the separation as the climax of a carefully orchestrated campaign by the Princess of Wales to beat the royals at their own game. Looking back, they point to the publication of Diana, Her True Story, as the decisive salvo, saying the princess spoon-fed her story to author Andrew Morton through loyal sources. But if either the prince or princess thinks the press assault is over now, they're wrong.
Two relatively young people living separate lives. The press is going to keep an eye on these two. It's inconceivable that they won't.
Already coverage of the separation has become speculation about a divorce, about whether Charles and Diana will ever actually be king and queen, and about who they might be seeing on the side. In the London papers today, pictures of Camilla Parker Bowles, Prince Charles' close friend.
It was not an amicable separation, and the divorce that eventually followed was a messy one. Diana remained highly popular with the public, but at one point she announced she was cutting down her activities and leaving public life.
I will be reducing the extent of the public life I've led so far.
That, of course, was wishful thinking. Diana became even more of a media star as she threw herself into a wide range of good causes. For a French newspaper interview, she chose a picture of herself that made her look almost saintly. But privately, she was lonely and increasingly isolated from the royal family.
Con el tiempo se vio acompañada de hombres jóvenes, entre ellos Will Crowlin, jugador de rugby, y un ex mayor del ejército, James Hewitt, quien traicionó a Diana y escandalizó a la familia real al revelar detalles íntimos de su relación.
It reads like a cheap romantic novel. Princess in Love, it's called, and today they couldn't put them on the shelves quickly enough. The princess, of course, is Princess Di. And the man who the author says had a 3-year affair with her is a former Army Major, James Hewitt, an officer but certainly not a gentleman, who gave her riding lessons. A member of the fabled Desert Rats Regiment in the Gulf War, he's now accused of behaving like a rodent.
A gentleman shouldn't talk. How dare he, really?
I think he's a cad.
Dodi Al-Fayed fue el último amor de Diana y como siempre estaban las fotografías para probarlo. Había millones de ellas tomadas por los paparazzi. Algunos incluso estaban allí cuando murió.
The Princess of Wales died of massive internal injuries sustained in an automobile crash last night in Paris.
In a tunnel on a road that runs beside the River Seine in central Paris, the car hit a wall and flipped out of control.
Al-Fayed y el chofer murieron en la escena del choque. Diana tuvo que ser extraída de la chatarra y murió poco después en el hospital.
It was Prince Charles who broke the news this morning to their 2 sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. They've been spending a summer holiday at the royal residence in Balmoral, Scotland. Diana's brother, the Earl Spencer, expressed the feelings of many when he made it clear that he believed the media hounded his sister to death.
It would appear that every proprietor and editor of every publication that has paid for intrusive and exploitative photographs of her, encouraging greedy and ruthless individuals to risk everything in pursuit of Diana's image, has blood on his hands today.
Y muchos parecían estar de acuerdo, especialmente otras celebridades.
I know what it's like to be chased in a car by the paparazzi. And it's one of the most frightening, claustrophobic-making feelings in the world because you have no place to go. You're in a car, you're going faster and faster to try and get away from them. They can shoot through darkened windows and you end up in a corner of the car. And she must have known such fear. It makes me so angry.
Paparazzi team Peter and Francine Brandt have been stalking celebrities around the world for 20 years.
Madonna,
if you're famous, they warn, don't do anything in public that you don't want recorded for posterity. No detail is too boring. Kevin Costner golfing.
They had little bushes in the golf course about 100 yards away.
Let me guess, you were
in one of those bushes. Exactly.
Tom Cruise skiing.
Obviously, Tom says he doesn't want to be photographed. Well, I'm sorry. Tough, Tom. You're a big celebrity. You make $20 million a picture.
These pictures went for $10,000 worldwide. The Brandts have gotten wealthy, catching the rich and famous off guard. From their point of view, everything is fair game.
Now, some will say the riches are worth it. Others who have had the riches and the entourages and the palatial homes, but can't walk out of the house without 50 photographers jumping all over them, will tell you, well, maybe it's not worth it.
Los paparazzi no fueron los únicos supuestos culpables de la muerte de Diana. También se supo que el chofer conducía ebrio. Se especula que Dodi y Diana le pidieron que escapara de sus perseguidores. El hecho es que los paparazzi estuvieron cerca de la muerte de Diana como lo estuvieron alrededor de su vida durante 17 años.
How ironic. Diana's public life began and ended the same way, with the paparazzi in pursuit. From the minute her name was mentioned, even as the possible choice of Prince Charles to be his wife, to be the future queen, the shy kindergarten teacher began running away.
So he's ready to do that.
Okay.
Thank you. That's enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we have a nice picture, please? Mom, please. Sure, George.
And yet, these same paparazzi made her the star she became. No other member of the royal family held their attention the same way. She grew into the glamour. She caught on, figured out that her stunning clothes, her beauty, her ever so slightly coquettish glances were the fast track to the attention, to the approval she felt she wasn't getting in her marriage.
Wherever she went, the cameras were never quiet. And she used the glare from the flashbulbs to shine light on causes that became dear to her.
Pocas personas conocieron a Diana como Katharine Graham, exdirectora del Washington Post.
I think she cooperated with the press to some extent in those situations. She certainly gave interviews and she tried to promote causes. She sold her dresses for charity.
She was very active in the AIDS community.
She was very active in health issues and certainly very human. She went here on the Vineyard and in other events to be with people who were dying of AIDS. And of course, as you know, she went all over the world in the behalf of AIDS.
Right,
and she told me an interesting thing. She said, you know, if I'm going to say something about anything, I want to see it. And that's why she went to really difficult parts of the world looking at what landmines did to people, because that was her other interest. And I think the landmines issue is a very valid issue, and she was very strong in its behalf. And then she was very interested.
And went to Bosnia to find out about it.
Yes, she did.
But Diana learned soon enough that the coin had its flip side. On the one hand, she needed the press. On the other, she became the object of a non-stop photographic feeding frenzy. Photographer Mark Saunders followed her everywhere, even the gym.
She said, who do you sell your pictures to? And I said, I sell them to anyone. And she said, yeah, lines the wallet well, though, don't they?
A gleaming smile at a gala premiere is rarely worth more than a few $100s. The big money comes from pictures no one else has. Like these shots of Diana with Dodi Fayed, Britain's Sun newspaper paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for the first clear look at the world's most famous former royal cavorting with a millionaire Egyptian playboy.
The trouble with her determination to escape the paparazzi was that Diana herself forever fed the beast. Her personal problems, her bulimia, the collapse of her marriage, her affairs, all kept them after her.
Y grabarían su regreso final a casa.
This afternoon, a princess came home. Diana, Princess of Wales, returned to Great Britain for the last time. A solemn honor guard carried her off the plane, draped in the royal standard, the flag of the royal family. Her former husband, the Prince of Wales, had made the flight with her.
Diana fue enterrada en privado en la isla de un lago en la propiedad de los Spencer, su hogar de infancia.
The Earl has made himself the guardian of her reputation as well as of her grave, and today released these pictures of the flower-strewn island.
Las flores de afecto enviadas a su tumba y otros sitios son una clara muestra de cuán profundamente fue amada y admirada por la gente de todo el mundo.
She was England's princess, but I also believe she was America's princess, too.
They are stifling tears and standing in line in the California sun and crowded Atlanta hallways, on a Chicago street, and in downtown Dallas, waiting to sign their grief in aching personal prose.
Someone with so much love to bring to the whole world. How could you have been taken from us so soon?
On these pages, there is regret and gratitude.
And she was one of those who came down from the Ivory Palace, stepped into the real world.
If Helen launched 1,000 ships, Diana launched far more of these dark warriors, these Nikon ninjas. They hounded her, harassed her, hunted her down. We hated them for that, but we loved the pictures they took. They were, in fact, our hired guns. They hunted her because we wanted the feast. They hounded her because we couldn't get enough of her.
Algunos comentarios finales al regreso en siglo XX. Las celebridades, sean atletas, estrellas o princesas, son personajes públicos, crecen bajo el brillo de los medios, pero a la luz del escándalo ese brillo se torna caliente y cruel. El apetito de los medios se vuelve insaciable y los fanáticos, lectores y espectadores nos interesa la información. Podemos simpatizar o condenar a las celebridades marcadas con el escándalo, pero una cosa es cierta, no los ignoramos. Soy Mike Wallace y esto es Siglo XX.